Good evening, sir. I'm Ezekiel, and I am in the same course as Arun Vindaraj. We studying. We currently doing our degree in automotive technology.
Good evening, sir. My name is Arun Vindanraj, and I'm also studying automotive technology, third year, second
Okay.
semester. Yeah.
All right. Good evening, guys. Nice to know you guys. You guys are the young bloods, the fresh ones that going to enter the challenging world of engineering, right? So good to meet you guys. So Chang, to your question, how am I doing today? I'm doing great, fairly well, right? Yeah. So
Right.
what you guys want to know? What you guys want to interview me today? So just to give a background, I graduated in 2012 in electrical electronics engineering, right? Major in electronics R&D design, and I've been right now my position in the corporate is as a project manager, right? R&D project manager. So altogether about 12 years in service so far, right? So how can I be your assistance today? What do you want me to do?
Okay. My first question is, can you distinguish between ethics and professional ethics, particularly in the context of engineering?
Okay. Yeah, ethics and professional ethics, they are not two different elements. Like they're almost the same, right? You guys would have studied ethics back in school, and right now it's just professional ethics. So, what is professional ethics? Professional ethics is basically a guardrail, right? It's a general principle, right and wrong between the individual. But how we interpret this specifically to engineering or any professional career, right? We need to ensure that whatever actions that we are taking, whatever actions that we are doing today, it doesn't impact the environment, general public, and welfare of others. So that's a basic difference between professional ethics and ethics.
Now I would like to proceed to my second question. My second question
Mhm.
is, how will you define a code of conduct within the professional realm?
Code of conduct within a professional realm. Okay. Again, it's a guardrail, right? Set of guidelines that lines up the ethical standards, behavior, responsibility, from individual within a profession, right? In specific, if you ask me, as an engineer, what is our code of conduct? I would say integrity, accountability, positive work safe environment is some of the critical conduct that we have to follow by close to our heart.
My third question. My third question is,
Mhm.
could you provide an overview of the five key principles typically found in the code of conduct for engineers?
The key pillars for code of conduct, I think based on IEM or BEM, right? They are they are totally, as I can recall, they are main five pillars. That starting with integrity, competency, public welfare, confidentiality, and also professional accountability. So, what are these, right? Integrity, what we call that, as an engineer, as a person, we need to have a high integrity. That means that we have to be honest and fair in our professional matter, in our personal or professional matter. So, as an engineer, we have this as a very high accountability, to make sure that you have you are being honest and fair in whatever you do in base of engineering. Because as I mentioned earlier, not being in not showing any integrity in your work you do, you may cause hurt or harm others in the environment, the people, and the welfare of others. So we don't want to do that at the expense of others, right? So the next one should be competence, right? It's not only just by graduating you are qualified, you can continue, you are qualified, you are ready for the world. No, you have to continuously improve your skills, right? As you know, technology, back in 1980s they invented TV, right? It was a big ugly box. Then in early 2000s they come up with the digital plasma TV, right now you are even having a digital TV. The thickness of the screen, and the bigger the screen gets, the slimmer the TV gets, right? So technology doesn't stop anytime. So you have to continuously get yourself upgraded. So competency is another key principle, as an engineer, that be a part of a code of the conduct, right? So the next one, the third one would be the third pillar that in the code of conduct that always emphasizes on safety, health, and welfare of public, right? Public welfare. So these are very important, right? Whatever you do, you always have to figure out, or you always have to at the back of your mind, think about, what damage you could possibly do in terms of safety, health, welfare of common people, public here, right? And the fourth key pillar would be confidentiality. So when we do our assignments, or when we are engaged in the projects, or we are being assigned a task, so you have to respect and protect the confidentiality of the client, right? It can be either you are working a client-based or customer-based projects, or it can be also your employer or you are an employee, right? You work in a company. So if your boss or your superior assign you a task, so that must be confidential matters, yeah, because some of the matters that you're working would be highly confidential, right? It can be very, it should not be available publicly. So when you engage in those kind of tasks, confidentiality should be maintained, well kept at the highest, right? And lastly, and what I always stress, even my junior engineers, professional accountability. When you see your name, when you do your sign off in your reports, you must take full accountability of your work, right? And you as an engineer in a real professional world, if you see or if you sense any illegal or unethical activities conducted on your projects or on your task, you should have them reported to the superior without further ado, right? So to me, based on the code of conduct for engineers, these are the key 5 pillars.
Thank you, sir. I would like to pass to my teammate Arun for the interview session.
To introduce myself again, my name is Arun Inaraj, and I'm studying third year in engineering mechanical. So I would like to proceed the fourth question. Why it is a requirement for a registered professional engineer work only if he has control supervision?
Because when engineers goes to any field, it can be chemical, electronics, manufacturing, any field that they are working in, even in agricultural, right? Every field of engineering, they have their own industrial standard. They have their own standard that they have to follow, they have to adhere, right? So when a registered professional engineer is being assigned or tasked to do any in the relevant field, in the related field, right? So they must be under control supervision to ensure, nonetheless, as I mentioned earlier, safety, quality, and compliance of engineering, right? So due to the standards has been set, regulation has been identified, to minimize the risk. So they have to follow under the control supervision.
I move to the fifth question. What are the regulation or procedures regarding a registered engineer taking over the work of another engineer representing the same client?
So that means an engineer is taking over another person's engineer. It can be due to any reason, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So as an engineer in the world of engineering, right, regardless whatever field you are going to work on, or even it's R&D or manufacturing, right? When there is a work passed down is being given, like from a previous engineer and the next shift engineer is taking over, they had to go through all the work or documentation that was submitted or done previously on the project or design thoroughly, right? So must have a clear conversation between the previous engineer to understand the status of the project and any critical issues that they have faced or they have seen or they have identified, right? This has to be clearly communicated and documented from your, this is between the handover engineers and between the new engineers and the old engineers or the previous engineer who's handing over the task, right? And then based on the output from your communication and documentation that you have already understood the project's critical issues, you need to get a consent, or you need to update the clients or customers acknowledging the change and need to notify them that this person will no longer be in this project, and hence it will be replaced by yourself or whoever the Mr. New registered engineer is taking over, right? So this information must be given to the client, right? They need to acknowledge this, showing that from this date and onwards, a new engineer has taken over, and they have to buy off or more like a written consent. And among one of the reviews, and also after the consent letter has been sent, one of the things that the registered engineer should also continue to do is, all the actions comply with code of conducts, code of ethics, professional standards, and then the regulations set by the licensing board and all the regulatory bodies. Yeah, these are there are a lot more, but these are the few of the regulation procedure a registered engineer should be doing whenever they are taking over a task from another engineer.
Yeah, nice, sir. Thank you so much, sir. The next question is based on opinion question, sir. So should I proceed,
Mhm.
sir? The question? Okay. What potential? Oh yeah. What potential consequences could arise if a registered graduate engineer were to accept benefits from multiple parties involved in project? This is an opinion question, sir. In your opinion, sir.
Okay, if monetary means it is not healthy for the project, right? Because we by accepting benefits from multiple stakeholders, is a will eventually will be leading us to cover track, right? Or it should be you because of your high ethics, right? Because you're getting something benefits from someone from the project, then that could lead to question your ethics, right? Are you reporting what is actually need to be reported? Why are you even getting this? If you ask my opinion, it is wrong. We should not accept this, right? Because it will lead us to compromising or being impartial, like I said earlier, right? We have to be honest, and there's no impartiality, right? And also, this will be some it will influence your decision making, right? It's a conflict of interest. You will be biased, and then end of the day, it's more like a this is actually, if you put in a straightforward terms, accepting benefits is more like a bribery lah. So don't do bribery, because this is not only impacting you, but as I mentioned earlier, in our code of conduct, it impacts the environment. Your wrongdoings to the project will impact the environment, will impact the community, will impact the welfare of others. So do not accept benefits of bribe from multiple parties when you are in a project.
Sir, sir's colleagues or sir did have any experience that like this situation in sir's company?
No, in my company, I worked in an MNC multinational company. It's a US based company. So ethics is very highly practiced, and bribery or any additional benefits like this from our supplier, from our vendors, is strictly prohibited. So we should not receive any benefits from any other parties. If found we are accepting, we can be terminated without notice.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for answering the previous question, so we could understand really clearly, and thank you for giving us some knowledge the previous questions. And firstly would be like, can you outline the specific restrictions and guidelines laid out in Regulation 27A for registered professional engineers?
Continuing education, right? Earlier, I also mentioned that you should not, as after you getting your degree, don't stop learning, continue to learn, because technology continues to evolve, right? Also, that will brings you to be competent in general world technologies, right? And then you have public safety, right? I also mentioned this, do not make any wrong calls or justification in your project, because this could not only hurt your project, but it hurts environment, it hurts people's safety, it hurts the public's welfare. So a lot of things is being will be impacted, right? So this is another restriction that is laid out in the guide, right? And lastly, conflict of interest. As I just said in my opinion, right, accepting benefit or bribe from other stakeholders of the project, can create conflict of interest. So this is one of the critical restrictions that has been captured in the regulation.
Thank you, sir. That's very wonderfully answered. And moving on to the next question, why do you believe it's imperative for a registered professional engineer holding a practicing certificate to refrain from falsifying their qualifications?
Because it's integrity and honesty, fundamentally should be engraved in an engineer to the profession that is going to pursue. Right? Falsifying this qualification, it's not only undermines public trust, but it also endangers safety, and that can lead to a severe legal and professional consequences. So yeah, do not falsify your qualification.
Moving to the next question, sir. How does the BEM Code of Professional Conduct address the ethical responsibility of engineers towards both society and environment?
It's always by promoting integrity and accountability, for sustaining engineering practices, right? Not ignoring, or we should always put an importance to consider the broader impacts of engineering decision that we are taking now, because the impact, it could go to the ecosystem and community, right? To prioritize safety, health, environment, and also protection to everyone's work, right, for the respective engineers in their work. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir, very much, and it's clear, sir. Okay, now for the final question, this answer is according to your perspective. What stance does the BM Code of Conduct take on conflicts of interest, and how do you think engineers should ethically navigate such situations?
I honestly believe transparency would be the critical quality that one should have, right? When they are entangled between conflict, they should always, being honest enough to disclose or share all the potential conflicts and prioritize their interests of their client, right? Or the projects above their personal interests. So you have to be very transparent in identifying this, right? And it should be always to your client's best interest. It should not be your personal gain, right? There shouldn't be any personal gain. It should be always focused on the client's interest. This would evolve openness, honesty, and also adherence to the professional standards that is already there.
Once again, sir, thank you for your time, and I really admire your speech and the way how you share your knowledge to us. And I really believe that my teammates and I could get something from this interview. And Arun and Song, do you have anything to say to sir?
Yeah, same, sir. Thank you for your time, sir. We really appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you for your time.
So it was great meeting you guys. At least I know not much. I think we spent about like 30 minutes or so, right? It was a good chit chat. At least I could also share my experience, to give to you young engineers when you guys come to real world, attending to real projects, always stay close to IEM or BEM, Board of Engineering Malaysia Code of Conduct, and always adhere to the rules and regulations that we already set, so that like I said, there's a good guardrails already set in for us. Just have to follow the guardrail. You will be in a good place.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your words, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, awesome guys. So have a great evening or good night. All right, nice talking to you guys.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
All right, you too.